Hi everyone, and today I'm going to teach you how the Super Mario Bros. Game for the NES was created. Let's get right into it. The player controls Mario, or his brother Luigi, in the multiplayer mode, as they travel the Mushroom Kingdom to rescue Princess Toadstool from Bowser/King Koopa. Traverse side-scrolling stages while avoiding hazards such as enemies and pits, with the aid of power-ups such as the Super Mushroom, Fire Flower, and Starman. Super Mario Bros. Was designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka of the Nintendo Creative Department and largely programmed by Toshihiko Nakago of SRD Company Ltd. The original Mario Bros., released in 1983, is an arcade platformer that takes place on a single screen with a black background. Miyamoto used the term athletic games to refer to what would later be known as platform games. For Super Mario Bros., Miyamoto wanted to create a more colorful athletic game with a scrolling screen and larger characters. The early level design was focused on teaching players that mushrooms were distinct from Goombas and would be beneficial to them, so in the first level of the game, the first mushroom is difficult to avoid if it is released. The use of mushrooms to change size was influenced by Japanese folk tales in which people wander in the forests and eat magical mushrooms. Super Mario Bros. Was developed for a cartridge with 256 kilobits of program code and data and 64 kilobits of sprite and background graphics. Due to this storage limitation, the designers happily considered their aggressive search for space-saving opportunities to be akin to their own fun television game show competition. For instance, clouds and bushes in the game's backgrounds use that same sprite recolored, and background tiles are generated via an automatic algorithm. By this point, the project had nearly run out of memory, so the designers created the Goombas by making a single static image and flipping it back and forth to save space while creating a convincing character animation. After the addition of the game's music, around 20 bytes of open cartridge space remained. Miyamoto used this remaining space to add a sprite of a crown into the game, which would appear in the player's life counter as a reward for obtaining at least 10 lives. During the third generation of video game consoles, tutorials on gameplay were rare. Instead, players learned how a video game worked through being guided by level design. The opening section of Super Mario Bros. Was therefore specifically designed in such a way players would be forced to explore the mechanics of the game in order to be able to advance. Rather than confront the newly oriented player with obstacles, the first level of Super Mario Bros. Lays down the variety of in-game hazards by means of repetition, iteration, and escalation. In an interview with Eurogamer, Miyamoto explained that he created World 1-1 to contain everything a player needs to gradually and naturally understand what they're doing, so that they can quickly understand how the game works. According to Miyamoto, once the player understands the mechanics of the game, the player will be able to play more freely and it becomes their game. Nintendo sound designer Koji Kondo wrote the 6-track score for Super Mario Bros., as well as all of the game's sound effects. At the time he was composing, video game music was mostly meant to attract attention, not necessarily to enhance or conform to the game. Kondo's work on Super Mario Bros. Was one of the major forces in the shift towards music becoming an integral and participatory part of video games. Kondo had two specific goals for his music: to convey an unambiguous sonic image of the game world, and to enhance the emotional and physical experience of the gamer. The music of Super Mario Bros. Is coordinated with the on-screen animations of the various sprites, which was one way which Kondo created a sense of greater immersion. Kondo wasn't the first to do this in a video game. For instance, Space Invaders features a simple song that gets faster and faster as the aliens speed up, eliciting a sense of stress and impending doom which matches the increasing challenge of the game. Unlike most games at the time, for which composers were hired later in the process to add music to a nearly finished game. Kondo was a part of the development team almost from the beginning of production, working in tandem with the rest of the team to create the game's soundtrack. Kondo's compositions were largely influenced by the game's gameplay, intending for it to heighten the feeling of how the game controls. Before composition began, a prototype of the game was presented to Kondo so that he could get an idea of Mario's general environment and evolve the music around it. Kondo wrote the score with the help of a small piano to create appropriate melodies to fit the game's environments. After the development of the game showed progress, Kondo began to feel that his music did not quite fit the pace of the game, so he changed it a bit by increasing the songs' tempos. The music was further adjusted based on the expectations of Nintendo's playtesters. The success of Super Mario Bros. Led to the development of many successors in the Super Mario series of video games, which in turn formed the core of the greater Mario franchise. Two of these sequels, Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Bros. 3, were direct sequels to the game and were released for the NES, experiencing similar levels of commercial success. The game's success helped to push Mario as a worldwide cultural icon. In 1990, a study taken in North America suggested that more children in the United States were familiar with Mario than they were with Mickey Mouse, another popular media character. The Super Mario Bros. Series has inspired various media products. Nintendo made a book about how to beat Super Mario Bros. Called Super Mario Bros. The Complete Strategy Guide. And it was Japan's best-selling book of 1985. And it is also Japan's best-selling book of 1986 with 860,000 copies by January 1986. Nintendo of America later translated it into English as How to Win at Super Mario Bros. And published it in North America via the Nintendo Fun Club and early issues of Nintendo Power magazine. The 1986 anime film Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach is acknowledged as one of the first feature-length films to be based directly off of a video game. The live-action Super Mario Bros. Film was released theatrically in 1993, starring Bob Hoskins as Mario and John Leguizamo as Luigi. The American animated television series The Super Mario Bros. Super Show ran from 1989 to 1990, starring professional wrestler Lou Albano as Mario and Danny Wills as Luigi. An animated film based on the series created by Illumination Entertainment is currently in production. Anyways, thank you all for watching. All names, places, movies, games, photos, and videos are all copyrighted, protected stuff. And I think I'm doing fair use and talking about these topics respectfully and educationally. And no copyright strikes needed. This video is non-profit. Shout out to Wikipedia page for Super Mario Bros. 1985. Credit to Wikipedia. And photos from Google. Thank you. Goodbye.